All right. Ready whenever you are.
Go for it.
Welcome to Two Guys Unfiltered, a podcast where trans people share their coming out stories, the hard ones, the funny ones, and everything in between. I'm Juju.
And I'm August. So whether you're trans, questioning, or just here to learn, we're glad you're here. Our guest today is Alex. He shared his passion for music and photography, as well as the difficulties he faced in being a Latino trans man. Now let's get into it.
Well, first, I want to start off by thanking you guys for having me on the podcast. I really
Hey,
appreciate it. It's my first time being on a podcast, so that's pretty cool. So, my name is Alejandro. Most people know me by Alex. I'm 26 years old, and I have identified as a transgender male for it's going to be 8 years this month, actually. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm excited to be here. Oh, and I'm from Ventura County.
hey. Oh, you live in California too. Okay.
Yeah.
And regarding your hobbies, in the forum, you said that you were into like DJing, photography, a bunch of other stuff. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, of course. So, since I was 13, I've loved taking pictures, and I just recently, a year ago, got into the professional space of it. So, I'm a dual studio manager now for JCPenney Portraits, which I'm sure you guys have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, been there as a manager for a year, and I do a little bit of DJing on the side. Didn't take it as seriously as I wanted to take it, but it's kind of more of like, just a side thing for me. I like to just mash up some music and have a good time with friends. Have the guitar that I pick up every once in a while, but nothing too serious with it either. I kind of dabble in all sorts of activities.
So, jack of all trades.
There you go. Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and you also said that you were into traveling, right?
Yes. I got my passport, thank God, in 2022 before all these issues. I just last month went to Mexico for my grandma's 90th birthday, so that was a huge privilege to just be able to go out there and, see kind of where my roots are from. And then I've been to Canada as well to visit a trans friend that I had met during the pandemic on Instagram. It could be such a dangerous thing for trans people to meet people online. So be careful, if anybody's doing it. I'm sure you've heard the horror stories. But I ended up making a really good friend, a lifelong friend, it feels, in
I mean,
Canada.
me and Juju met online, so
Yeah.
Where are
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
true.
from? Both California?
No, I'm from Texas.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. How is it like being a trans man in a red state?
right.
Um, I mean, you just live, right? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it with like I don't want to say like passing or not passing, but like I'm thankful, I guess, for that. But as
Right.
far as like still like I waited to change my name. And so they passed the whole like you can't change your gender marker. So my name is changed,
Oh.
but my gender marker's not. So then you run into
Oh,
like I go to a
man.
bar or I get a new job or something like that.
Do
Uh,
people look at you like
yeah,
weird?
yeah. When I went to go vote, my name wasn't changed at all at that point. And so I hand the lady
Oh.
my ID. She looks at me. She looks at my wife. My wife's looking at her, and like we're all just looking at each other. And then so like yeah, and then she just hands my ID to the next lady, and then we just continue going. I was like, okay. It was so
Ah.
weird, so awkward.
I still haven't changed my ID photo from when I was 18, so I
What?
always get those looks. And I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
it's my ID. What are you gonna say?
Right.
Now I just own the picture at this point.
Right, it's
Right.
just
I
you.
imagine there must be a difference in like somebody who's in a red state versus being over here in a blue state.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the feeling. It could be so awkward. Thankfully here in California, I've never had anybody look at me weird. Maybe it's because I passed. Maybe it's the almost 8 years on T.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely have had the experience of looking masculine in the photo, and then the legal name is just like long ass Mexican traditional ass name, you know? I'm not gonna say it, but you know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I have one of those too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm working on getting out of here for sure. So,
Texas is a place I would like to visit. I have family that lives over in Texas that I recently learned when I went to Mexico. I met a lot of nieces that I hadn't met, you know, my cousin's daughters, stuff like that, and found out I have family in Texas. So I'm like, oh, that's cool.
what would you say is the favorite or a favorite place you've visited before?
My favorite place I visited. Mm. Being from Mexico, you think I might say Mexico. No hate. I loved it out there. I don't think I got to see enough, and the country is huge. But my favorite place that I visited, I think Canada. Yeah, I went to this place called Squamish. It's like way further up north from Vancouver where I went. My friend's mom drove us up about 4 hours north of Vancouver, and we hit this town. It's like something straight out of a horror film, kind of like what's that one movie? Oh, The Shining. Have you guys seen The Shining?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. No.
No. You guys like horror movies?
Yeah.
I'm okay with them. Not a huge fan.
I'm a huge fanatic, horror fanatic. Oh, I don't know, but I really enjoyed Canada. The scenery, the nature, it's just, I don't know, the air feels so crisp up there, and breathing up there feels a lot different than here in California too. Something about it. It's just,
Did
I
you
don't
ever
know.
move over there?
I would, yeah. The people there are also just so nice. It made me realize how high I have my guard up. And maybe it's a part
Mm.
of like being transgender,
I
but
think
I
it's
just feel
also an
like,
LA thing.
yes, yeah, like an LA thing. People are just a little bit more stubborn, have their guard up. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like you got to be on your toes. Over
100%.
there, everybody's so nice. You know, somebody on the street likes your outfit, they're complimenting you. And just, I don't know, it made me kind of just realize like, hey, people are not all that bad.
Mm. I feel like us LA people are just stuck up and we think we're the shit and don't care about everybody else. So,
Yeah, like a lack of empathy for sure.
yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And in regards to your photography, is there like one photo that you always think about? Like you're like, that's the best photo I've ever taken?
Um, you know, most recently I think I've taken a lot of photographs that I've been generously surprised to find that the improvement over the years is so real, like it's there. So there's not one that I could think of at the moment, but that is something that I do want to post more and showcase of online because right now my content's been a lot about my experience as a trans man. I think most recently, all the photos that I took in Mexico, photos of my family just bonding. Um, the last time I went to Mexico, I was too young to remember, maybe 4 or 5 years old. And so being out there, meeting family members that I've never met as a trans man and just looking the way I do, taking pictures of all of them, those really stuck with me in my core. So the photos I took in Mexico, I really enjoyed.
It was finally like you with your family and
Yeah, with
that idea.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was a nice moment to capture. You don't know how much longer, you know, my grandma turned 90, so that was kind of a
hmm
huge milestone, and so we don't know when we'll be up there together again. So that was nice, something to have forever, you know, a picture
definitely.
is forever.
All right. So we'll get into it. The whole idea of our podcast. If you can you give us a summary of your coming out story?
Oh, yes, I would love to. Coming out is something that a lot of us queer people, it's in the agenda, you know, at some point when we either we accept it right away or we're in denial. And For me, I was in seventh grade. It's about like 12 years old, and I had my first girlfriend like on Facebook, and I was using an old phone that my sister kind of put to the side because she got a new one. And so one day she goes, "Where's my old phone? I need to sync my old contacts." And I'm heart pounding, hands sweating, like what the fuck? I was logged into Facebook, and I think the last message that I sent to the girlfriend at the time was, "I love you," bruh. Imagine that, being 12 years old saying "I love you," right? Like, so I'm freaking out. She's like, "I know you have it. Give me it back." I'm like, "Oh shit." So I didn't have enough time. Like I remember trying to delete and log out of as much as I could, but I didn't have enough time. So she eventually catches me with the phone. She snatches it from me, and the girlfriend responds like, "I love you back," or whatever. So she sees all the messages, and she's wondering, "What the hell? What are you doing? Like having this type of conversation?" So she shows my mom, and she's like, "Why is I'm not gonna dead myself, so I'll say Alex. Why is Alex sending these messages?" And my mom was just confused as well. So they sat me down in the living room, and I just remember immediately crying because that moment was ripped from me. Coming out wasn't a thing for me. I was dragged out of the closet. I say this every time. Like I didn't have the opportunity to come out on my own terms. I was dragged. Which is funny to me now. My sister apologized like years later because she's like, "Oh my God, Alex, like I didn't realize what was happening." And unfortunately, I just didn't have the best support system growing up. Mental health in a Hispanic household almost seems non-existent. Um, so in that moment, I just said I remember saying as I was wiping my tears away, "I like girls." Immediately as the sentence left my mom said, "No, no, you're too young. You don't know what you want. You're confused. That's going to change." So for me, I was immediately rejected. That's what I was
Uh-huh.
met with. For me, it took me years to accept it myself because can you imagine the people that are closest to you, the people that you're taught should love you the most, rejecting you? And so for years, I tried to suppress it. The first 2 years of high school, my freshman and sophomore year, was all about pleasing my mom, dressing girly, wearing makeup, curling my hair, dating boys. And it was a miserable experience for me to the point where I drove myself to exhaustion that I said, "Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Like, who am I even living for? What is this life?" So, come my junior year, I was reminded of the queer people that had crossed that bridge, got into the acceptance. The first trans guy that I remember seeing was Sam Collins on YouTube. Do you guys know Sam Collins?
I know of him now, but I
Yeah,
didn't
just
back
heard his
then.
name now. Yeah.
Okay, so he, I think, still is posting on YouTube. I'm not sure. I don't keep up so much these days, but excuse me, he was like one of the first trans creators that I recall seeing. And so after that, it was a rabbit hole of trans men. 1 month on T, 2 months on T, 3 months on T. Like I was just watching everything I could find. And I remember being absolutely amused and amazed and just like, whoa, like this is a thing. Like this is
Uh-huh.
really possible. Because
That
for
was
me,
my
since
thought
I was a
process too.
kid, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? I
That's
just remember,
possible?
yes, I remember being so happy and still one of the first things that came to my mind was no, like not I'm not like that's so cool, but no, like I'm not
Uh-huh.
that. Like no, that's and I think it's because of the rejection that I already faced with
Right.
I'm like, "Oh my God, can you imagine like they reacted like this when I was saying I like girls and now like to change my whole gender and to get on hormones like oh, I was like, "Oh my God, no way." It took until the end of my senior year where I ended up cutting my hair short for the first time and dressing more as myself. It took until just becoming absolutely exhausted with hearing my dead name and getting so pissed off at people, and they're not aware of it. So once I got to that point, I said, okay, how the hell am I going to be getting pissed off at somebody by calling me my name and they don't know that I feel this way about myself? Like, something's not right. I got to do something to change this. So when I came out as trans, I was in high school, my senior year, months away from graduating. My birthday's in May, graduation was in June. Legally, at the age of 18, I had the authority to, make the decision for myself if I want to transition. So I came to accept it. Friends at school were accepting of it, and there is one friend who I actually recently, cut ties with. I just remember him being one of the people saying, "You should wait till you're 21." And I said, "Fuck that. I'm not waiting till I'm 21, dude. Like, I can't postpone this any longer. This is what I want to do." And for my family, when I came out as trans, oh God, like, my sisters, I think, were more accepting than my parents. My dad has always kind of had more of a soft spot than my mom. My mom's a little bit more aggressive and outspoken. Um, my mom said, "Fuck no, you're not doing that shit in my house." And I moved out for not long. It didn't last till my dad was calling me and saying, "Dude, mijo, come home. Like, we promise we're gonna address you by Alex and he and him." And it didn't happen right away. But now that I'm 8 years on T, the difference, looking back at where it started to where it is now, it is amazing. And one of the reasons why I continue to tell my story, especially to all the trans people of color out there that are growing up in families that are not accepting, is because I want to remind them that it is possible to get to a point where you accept yourself, most importantly, but the ones around you who truly do love you are going to show up, and they're going to want to learn how they can better show up for you. It's not an easy thing, but I think my story is a good reminder that it is possible.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Would you say that your dad was more of like the peacekeeper between you and your mom, like throughout your transition, or was it just something your mom
Weirdly,
didn't feel comfortable addressing?
I think my mom till this day is the type of person that still cares a lot about what people think. My mom, um, she's got a lot of love for me. I know she does. Her and I were in a car accident together last year, and since then, even like a lot's changed. But my dad, I think, yeah, he has kind of been more of the peacekeeper throughout my transition. My dad's come to me with some pretty vulnerable stuff that I never thought I would hear him say. Stories like when somebody at work asked him how many kids he has, he said he has. So I have two brothers and two sisters, right? And my dad came to me and said, "Hey, somebody at work asked me how many kids I have," and I told him I have three boys and two girls, which that to me was just, I don't know, really sweet. My dad's not even that much of a like emotional guy to be saying stuff like that. So that was
It was just
cool.
the little things, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was something that I did share on TikTok once, that it exuded that trans joy that feels a little rare in a Hispanic household sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. My mom's also was born in Mexico, so I feel like it's been a lot harder for her to understand because, I mean, Mexican language is already gendered, so if you add that layer to it, you can only imagine how hard it is to deconstruct the whole idea of gender. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
So what's the one thing, I guess on a lighter note, right? What's one thing someone should have warned you about but didn't before starting hormones?
Oh God, I love that question. I think all of us have a different answer, and I would love to even hear your guys's. Um, does anyone want to start?
Yeah,
Daniel, you
mine
guys want to start?
mine was ass hair.
Oh!
Mine was actually feeling emotions for once, especially
Really?
specifically anger. Like I don't think I was an angry person before, but now I'm like I will be angry about the littlest things now.
Ah, yes, I relate to the ass hair. The emotions, I feel more than ever that I'm like emotionally suppressed. I was thinking about this podcast yesterday and my answers and how I would go about things, and I felt pretty emotional. I thought I might cry. I don't know. We'll see. But the question is, what should somebody have warned me before starting testosterone?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's one thing? Yeah.
One thing, okay. Uh, honestly, I think that one thing, I don't know if warning would be the word, but one thing I wish I kind of would have had a heads up with that nobody talks about is the fluidity that comes with the acceptance of yourself. And what I mean by that is because prior to taking testosterone, I had strictly only been attracted to women. And these days, I find myself to be a little bit more fluid in my sexuality. I've never dated a man. I wish somebody would have warned me, like, hey, the testosterone might make you a little bit.
Too horny.
Yeah, yes. I just got out of a long ass 7 year relationship, so I'm not exploring, dating, interested. I'm fully committed and focused on myself right now. Yeah.
No, I definitely relate to that. I think before testosterone, I was bisexual, but more like female
Uh
leaning.
huh.
But since starting, I'm like, oh, men are back on the agenda again. But
Very interesting.
only trans man. I will not date a cis man. Not that I'm, open, but I have a
That's
fiance, so it's never gonna happen.
You're
But
like, I'm literally about to get married.
yeah,
that's
but
respectable. Yeah. Wow, you're about to get married?
hopefully soon.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. And are there any specific memories you look back on your childhood that while you were coming out as trans, you're like, damn, why didn't I come out sooner? Like the signs were there.
Um, I think I tried in ways that I knew how to at the time.
Okay.
When when I would get home from school, the bus stop was fairly close, so I would walk home and nobody would be home. I would go into my brother's room and I would put their clothes on. And I remember thinking, oh, like this, I felt free. I felt me. I felt real. I felt like I didn't want to die. And so, well, little things like that is kind of a, what is it, telltale sign? I can
Yeah.
never say that word, but that was something to me that kind of stood out as like, hey, you're a little different. But I was freaked out since I came out the womb. I think about about being myself because of the judgment that I saw in my family. I think I grew up around a lot of judgmental people that till this day mentally I just don't feel safe where I am. Financially, my parents have been very supportive of me. I get to live here rent free. I help out where I can. Even though I'm drowning in debt and taking it one step at a time.
I think too, like the judgment is also, I feel like a prominent Hispanic thing. I don't know. They could be very judgmental for no reason. They just love the drama.
The
They love the
cheese man.
chisme. Yeah, that comes from it, I think.
Yeah, when you're the only trans guy in the family, they're gonna talk.
Uh-huh.
Period. Or if you're gay, or if you're piercings, you have different colored hair, you dress a little different.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. Guess I'm the star of the show. I'll take it.
Yeah, because my sister is also, I think she's, I don't know what her sexuality is, but she has a fiance who's a woman. And she has history of dating other women. But like maybe she's like the token sister, I don't know, but like it's acceptable for her to be dating women, being a girl, but it was like a whole other thing for me to come out as trans. So,
Ah,
yeah. It's just an odd
right.
situation.
Yeah, it's almost like they look at it a little less problematic. Like, oh, you're a girl who likes girls, no problem. But
Right.
God forbid you change your gender, you take
Exactly.
hormones, legally
Yeah.
change your name, and you start living as who you
Who
are. And
you've always
sometimes,
wanted to be. Yeah.
yes, and who you feel you are at your core. Not everybody gets that.
Right. And that's something I've talked to them about too, is like you when you were raising us, you told us to always be yourself, to not let anyone, rain on your sunshine. So why are you raining on my sunshine now? Like, I'm just practicing what you were teaching me to do.
Right. And she's
Literally.
like, well, I didn't mean my own kid. She's like,
Yeah, exactly.
oh my. Yeah.
And so, what would you say has probably been the most affirming or joyful part?
The most joyful part I feel for me as somebody who's never been accepted where I'm at now, the validation that I got from my family in Mexico, and I'm talking my mom's sisters, my mom's brothers, my 90-year-old fucking grandma never making me being trans an issue. Like that validation has brought me the most joy in this transition because I feel at my core I've always known who I am and I've come to accept it. Maybe I didn't always accept it, but I did always know, like, I'm a man. And the most affirming part of my transition has been seeing how far my family's come along and seeing the family members who never switched up on me. They've been real with me since day one. Being trans to the family members that deserve to be in my life never fucking looked at me different because of me being trans. That's a beautiful part of life, and in many cultures it's celebrated. It's a beautiful thing to be trans. It's not weird, it's not bad, but it is heavily misunderstood. And that's not an issue at all. And that's what's been the most affirming part of my transition. I didn't think I would open up to the idea that the validation of others matters, but if you consider kind of where it started to where it is now, it's just a beautiful reminder.
Definitely.
For sure.
And so on the flip side of that, what would you say has been the hardest part? Would it still be like family acceptance, or was there something else you feel like was a bigger challenge for you?
One of the biggest challenges for me is, you know, like in my transition, you mean, right?
Hmm.
I would say it's making friends. I don't have many people that I can call my friend, and I don't have many people that I trust genuinely. As much as I do like to put myself out into the community, I find that not every space that is like LGBT friendly is for me. And I think that's been something that's a huge challenge for me till this day. I think this relationship that I came out of has redirected me 100% to myself, to where I'm forced to face the things that I've been avoiding and ignoring for years, that only now am I able to see kind of more clearly the direction that I mean to go on. So the solution I know is where I'm headed. But the hardest part of my transition has been maintaining friendships, relationships.
Would you say that you felt unseen in those LGBT spaces, or was it Is there other issues that make it made it challenging to find friends and make friends there?
Unseen in the community has been one of them. I think I've met a lot of white trans people that mistake me for being a white trans guy, and a lot of times I've felt like their privilege kind of overrides the space in the conversations that I don't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. I don't know how to explain it best, but um,
Like there's a lot of nuances that come with your transition, the process versus like a white person transitioning. Like there's less voices, I guess, less impact. I don't know. Not to invalidate their transition, but
right. I just think that a lot of times in the media, it's gonna be the blonde person with the blue eyes, and they're getting casted, or the white trans guy that's saying the same thing that that other black Mexican guy or whoever is saying. It's like, dude, you're saying the same thing, but the message that's being delivered is being highly appreciated by the masses when it comes to that white person. And and I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, as much as I'm trying to not make it a thing, I'm trying to educate myself on why that even is a thing. You know,
right.
like more of the history, because I've never been a history guy, but being a trans person forces you to be like, we need to take a
Mm-hmm.
look at history, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
trans people has always been around, and well, there's a lot more to talk on that, but
Breaking news!
On August 4th, 2025, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services updated their immigration policy to make it harder for transgender athletes to get U.S. visas. The agency now treats participation in women's sports by trans women as a negative factor in evaluating high skill visa applications. This change is part of a broader effort stemming from the Trump policies to restrict women from competing in women's sports, or trans women from competing in women's sports, and could impact their ability to work or live in the US legally.
While there has been so much negativity in the news regarding trans women in sports, we wanted to highlight two trans male athletes, Clayton J. Reeves and Charlie Hoskins. They have both expressed that trans sports arena has caused them to reconcile their version of masculinity due to misogynistic and transphobic rhetoric. However, by being on American Ninja Warrior, a gender-neutral competition, they are a prime example that trans people do not have a higher advantage over their cisgender competitors.
So, in other positive news, 17 Democrat states are suing the Trump administration, accusing it of pressuring hospitals to stop providing gender affirming care to transgender youth. The lawsuit claims the administration used federal investigations and funding threats to intimidate providers, even in states where such care is legal. As a result, several major hospitals paused or scaled back services like puberty blockers and hormone therapy. The states argue this is an illegal overreach and harms vulnerable youth. The Trump administration says it's protecting children, but medical experts widely support gender affirming care as necessary and evidence based.
If you want to read more into these stories, the links to the articles will be in the description below.
Going to social media a little bit, can you kind of explain for, I don't know if there's anyone watching that doesn't know who you are, but can you explain what your content is about and
yes.
the main focus of your videos?
Yeah, so most of my content is about my experiences as a transgender man. It all started with wanting to and being isolated and depressed. It started from not having absolutely any sort of support. It was my loneliness that led me to just go on, pick up my phone, and talk about how I was feeling. And as depressing as it is, I found a lot of people that related to me, but that were going through the same thing. And so I found community in that. But it's shifted, of course, over time. I started on YouTube and then made my way over to TikTok. and I've gained about 130,000 followers over sharing my experiences. Some being very controversial, like my transphobic brother. Um, Kind of all over the place, to be honest. Social media is something that I'm still trying to figure out what to do with. I think my ADHD has me all over the place, but yeah.
I think how I discovered you was you would always go out in public without a shirt before top surgery, and
Oh,
you've actually gave me the courage to just at least walk in my own house, my own apartment without a shirt on.
wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I agree. That's exactly how I
Mhm.
found you too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That brings me so much joy, and I'm glad that that video found you because that's something that for me, I never thought would be possible. Like, I mean, you said you walked in your own apartment shirtless, and sometimes as trans people, we could be so punishing to ourselves. Like, oh, we hate our chest so much. I'm keeping this fucking binder on. I'm sleeping with it, and it's like we don't realize how damaging that is to our ribs, our mental health, all that. When I came to accept it about myself, and I made a video, and we're all different, you know. Some of us a little bigger than others. Some of us were born with bigger teacups than others, and I think I was born with the build, and of course with working out, it enhanced the muscle in my chest area to where I took my shirt off, and I'm like, well, if you're not looking too close, they kind of look like pecs, you know.
Right.
And so just posting being a trans Latino without a shirt pre-op, that got a lot of attention, like a lot of hate,
I
but
bet.
it did find my trans brothers and sisters out there that found how commendable that is, and I'm grateful for all the people that that's found because, excuse me, I think in general as humans, whether you're trans or not, you deserve to be happy in your own skin, unless you're a pedo or a rapist.
Right. Then go away.
Yes, die. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You should.
No, die.
I mean, for real, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but how has post top surgery been? How has recovery gone for you?
It's gone pretty smooth, I will say. I think I'm a type of person that knows exactly what they want, and so when my expectations aren't met in that terms, I feel like I could be a little nitpicky. When it comes to my body, on the external, that's where I'm a little more scattered. But when it comes to me, I'm like, but I will say it's gone smooth. You know, I think I should be a little more graceful about the results. And I got a letter in the mail the other day, actually, stating how much the insurance paid for this surgery. How about it said 30,000 each tit?
Damn.
I'm like, how is that even? I'm like, I should have kept them.
Right. I can't wait till the day where trans masc and trans femme can just swap. Like, here's my tits, give me your bottom.
I know, right?
Like, get on it, scientists.
Seriously.
Like those videos you see, and it's like you have something I want.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
It's so funny. And so, since you both have top surgery, my top surgery is in like 4 weeks. So I need
Yay.
some tips. What would be your biggest tip?
How's your pain tolerance? High,
Um,
low?
I'm weak.
I'm weak.
See, I'm right there with you. Until I got top surgery, my perspective changed. I always thought like I feel a little more on the weak side, like lower pain tolerance. But a lot of people, you know, because top surgery is considered what do you call it? It's a big surgery. It's not a minor surgery. Right?
Invasive.
Invasive.
Yes, it's huge, and so although there are different methods, what method are you getting?
Double mastectomy.
But
Okay,
he's not getting drains.
No.
okay.
And
Did
I'm
you
also
have
getting
drains?
liposuction.
Oh, yeah, I got that too. In your armpit,
Okay.
right? Like right here?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I think after top surgery, I realized my pain tolerance is not as low as I thought. Maybe it was the gabapentin. You get The worst part of it is when you're healing and you start to gain a little bit of sensation in your nipples and you get random pinches
Like
like the nerves
spazzes.
are, yes, like a little
Yeah.
spaz in your chest and you're just like, "Oh, what the heck?"
I still get them sometimes. Like a little
Me too.
shock in my tit.
Yes, me too. But as far as preparation goes, oh, my light fell. Um 90-degree pillow. Okay, that's gonna have to. No, that. Hang on. Okay, there we go. 90-degree pillow, straws because you can't lift to drink, and some good shows to watch. I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
whole list out there you
Get
can
some
buy.
like Lego kits too. That way you're just like have your arms down and you're
Oh yeah,
not
I got a
going up.
few of those.
Yeah.
There you go. Or video games, but you
Video
do want to make
games.
sure you're
Yeah.
walking around too. Daily walk, get that blood flow moving.
All right. So going back to you, Alex, then, with having a following as I would say you have a pretty big following. Do you feel like there's pressure to educate people or to keep posting, or is it still something you just see as doing for fun?
I don't feel too much pressure. Um, I don't think I've gotten to the point where so many people know who I am that they're like, "Why isn't Alex talking about this?" I've never felt that. To me, I post what I feel needs more awareness, or I'm reposting people of color talking about their experiences and the people that are even disabled, sharing their experiences and just bringing those voices that don't have the following that I do to light because I think
Right.
that it's important for them to be heard. I don't I don't feel pressure to talk about really anything. Perhaps someday soon I might feel the pressure.
And how do you handle vulnerability online then?
How do I handle vulnerability online? Uh, what do you mean by that? Like,
Like, I guess how would you mentally handle it, right? So it's like you post something that's like pretty vulnerable to you. Do you like dwell on it or do you just post it and like move on?
oh fuck, oh man, this is good. This is something that you reminded me of because I feel like I've been a big dweller. Like I will dwell. I'm my biggest fucking critic, my biggest hater. Sometimes I'm my worst enemy. And it's so fucking annoying because people are not going to remember this shit in 600 years. Like that stupid TikTok or, people are not going to remember this. Um, at least for the little things. But that's where the goal shifts for me. The goalpost has shifted and it keeps on shifting for me, I feel like, because I just want to keep evolving, as a trans man and as a human, period. Um, in 2021, I would post and I would fear for my life on who's gonna see it, and I would delete it. And I'm still kind of struggling with this because when you have 130,000 people, you got a lot of people watching you that you don't even realize are watching you until you go to the supermarket and you run into somebody that's like, "Oh, I watch your TikToks," and you're like, "Really? Like, no way." I was out at what is it, Porto's. You guys know Porto's?
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a bougie Starbucks. It's like a bakery coffee shop, and it's huge. I went to Porto's in Northridge a few weeks ago. Masses of people there getting coffee and ordering baked goods,
People
and I'm
go
just
crazy for Portos over here.
yes, it's a big, big thing. And so I had to go over there to pick up an extra camera because the one at our studio wasn't working. So the manager over at Northridge said, "Hey, we have a backup. You can come pick it up." Okay, cool. Portos is right next to the studio. So I'm like, "Hey, like I want to, try some of this, see what the hype is about." I walk in, there's so many people, and I thought about the people that are extremely famous, Justin Bieber type level. And like, can you imagine like people at that status of fame, that level of fame, like they couldn't go to Porto's without being
Can't do anything in
mauled.
peace no
No,
more.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, you need security at that point. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I looked at the people and I thought, damn, like when you're famous, like you couldn't do this type of stuff. Let me enjoy it while I can, eh? So I just was like, huh, just like that was a little thought that came to mind. Tell me why I'm waiting for my coffee, and the girl that gives me my coffee goes, "Wait, you're Alex, right?" I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "Hey, I know you from TikTok." I'm like, "Oh shit, no way, that's so cool." She's like, "Yes, I'm a huge fan." And for me to hear that somebody's a fan of me, I'm sorry, it feels weird. And maybe because like I'm a hater to myself. I'm trying to grow out of this. I'm gonna seek mental help after this podcast because it's something that I've been meaning to
Got you
do.
reflecting.
Yes. I'm sick of myself, guys. Like I feel like the internet gets to see the glimpse of me that I'm a little I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I'm definitely at a turning point in my life right now. It comes to a point where you just can't stand the way that things are and you have nothing left to do but to pick it up and change it yourself. Nobody's gonna
Hmm.
change it for you.
Right.
So that's that.
And throughout your transition, do you feel like you've had to perform masculinity?
Yeah, so in high school, my freshman year, it was all about pleasing my mom. I would dress feminine, do what the typical cis hetero person would do, that's expected, I guess, by society. Um, so yeah, that was one way that I felt like I had to perform. Like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't until I grew absolutely sick of doing something that's not really me. It made me feel like I didn't want to live. Um, there's some stuff that I thought about talking about. I don't know if we'll get into it. Maybe we will. But even then, transitioning from a female to a male, I have in some instances felt like I had to perform in a sense of like be more masculine for my safety. When I'm around cis hetero men that are openly transphobic to me, those are moments where I felt like, I have to deepen my voice a little bit and watch what I say. Um, but in spaces where that judgment is not around, I don't feel like I have to perform so much and pretend that I'm somebody that I'm not.
And do you feel like masculinity has changed before transitioning versus now?
Yes, absolutely. Then I felt like I would associate masculinity with just more of the traditional traits, more physical traits. But now where I'm at, I've realized that there's a lot more to masculinity than what I used to associate it with, like, being assertive, being a leader. Not that women can't and
Uh-huh.
don't have these qualities, they certainly do. Um, you
But they're like
know,
mandatory if you're a man.
yes,
Uh-huh.
right, right. Um, I think emotional intelligence is something that's very important to being a masculine person. I think there's a lot that I'm still learning about it, and I don't know. I think in this life, it's never ending. I'm the type of person that cannot stay in the same thing. I'll drive myself crazy. I mean, this year, I've cut off more people than I have in my whole life, and I feel isolated and alone, but I just remind myself that those who are meant to be in my life, they will show up at the right time. I'm not going to rush anything anymore like I used to out of loneliness.
Uh-huh.
So, yep.
And if you could speak to your past self before you were out invisible, what would you say about the journey ahead of you?
Whew. I would say buckle the fuck up. This is going to be an intense ride. People are mean, but what matters most is that you're real to yourself. No matter how lonely you feel, it's going to be worth it in the end. Even though I haven't got to that point fully, that I feel like this is all the hard work, like this is what it was all for. I think I'm still like this, you know. Um, but I would tell myself to buckle the fuck up because it's gonna be a ride, and this shit ain't for the weak. You know, being transgender is something that, woo, it's just an intense ride. It's it's a very unique experience, and it varies from person to person. I envy the people that have loving parents that are proud of their kids, and that's something that I'll never have. Even though my parents are a little more accepting now, they're not. I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like even though it wasn't the greatest process, I wouldn't change it because my mindset wouldn't be where it is now. Like
Yes,
I've had to undig a lot of internalized transphobia to better understand my parents' view of trans people as
I
well. I feel
relate.
like like their judgment on me made me reflect like, oh, how am I judging other people then? So,
Very good point.
yeah.
Yeah, I relate to you. I do.
And what hopes would you have for the transgender community, maybe the LGBT community as a whole, and then what hopes do you have for yourself as well?
My hopes for the trans community, for the specifically, I'm gonna say for the trans community, um, as because as the LGBT, like, woo, there's just there's a lot going on there. So I'll speak for the trans community when I say I hope to see more trans people of color launching businesses, starting podcasts like this, coming together. I'll use Trans Dudes of LA as an example. Like, I want to see more of that within the more diverse communities, you know, trans disabled creators. Like, I would love to see more of them come together. And I have a few projects coming up. I launched my clothing brand that I feel fumbled in April. Dismantlethestructure.com. Check it out. I'm still working on it, but I plan on getting myself out there more. You know, I think LA has a lot more diversity than kind of where I'm at now. Not easy, but yes, my hopes are to see more diversity within the community. And as far as hope for myself, I hope to be, how could I say this? Not so hard on myself. I hope to not be so hard on myself. I think that's something that I'm really struggling with right now that not a lot of people online get to really see because I like to show up in ways that I'm not bringing others down. Sometimes I feel like the world's got enough problems. Why do I want to come online and bring this? But I think again, there's a balance to it, and we shouldn't suppress what we're going through to prevent ourselves from like showing up this way. It's like, no, be real. You know, it's okay to be at an all-time low. It's okay to share these experiences. So I hope that I could be less judgmental of myself and open myself up to new experiences because I'm definitely in a hermit mode right now, isolation mode.
Yeah, I relate to that. I think that's why I started this podcast is like I want to meet new people. I want to hear more stories, especially people of color, disabled,
Yep.
trans people as well. Like we don't hear enough about their transition story, their process, their hardships. Um,
Yes.
so Juju and I wanted to create a platform space where people can freely and own their voice, own their story. So
That's awesome, guys. I'm proud of you guys, and I think that this is a great direction that you guys are going in for the podcast. I'm honored to be so early in, and I'm excited to see the result of this podcast and to repost and I'm excited to see where you guys take this because I think this is a great opportunity for all the trans people out there that don't have a following that that are, open to sharing their experience. I think it's beautiful what you guys are doing.
Thank
We
you, thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Maybe we can have you as a guest again sometime too.
I would love to. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we had for you. Was there anything we didn't talk about that you would like to bring up?
Mm, not that I could think of right now, honestly. I mean, I could talk your ear off for days, but maybe we'll save it for another episode if we get to it.
And then, did you want to plug your socials in case people aren't following you?
Yes, sure, yes. So I'm Blitz Joker on every platform. It's BLITZJ0K3R on everything. I'm on Twitch, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. Those are my primary is Twitch and TikTok. So you can find me on there. And also, if you need any portraits taken, I'd be more than happy to take them for you. I'm a passionate photographer. I love capturing the moments, keeping it real, keeping it authentic and raw. So if you ever need portraits and you're in Ventura County, 805, I got you. You know where to find me.
Maybe I'll hit you up too because I need pictures actually.
You got it.
All right, and his handles will also be in the description below if you are interested in following him. But yeah, thank you again so much, Alex, for being on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you both so much. I'm excited to see this episode.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Two Guys Unfiltered. A huge thank you to Alex for sharing his story. If today's episode resonated with you or reminded you of your own story, we would love to hear from you. Click the link in the description below to fill out a form to be our next guest.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.